Cool, man. Well, like I said, I saw your show last night, and it was great. Can you talk a little bit about the current tour? How's it going? Turnout's going good, it looks like.
Yeah, man, it's good. I feel like last night was honestly a little light, just because every time we play the Alrosa, we end up selling it out. And last night we didn't quite sell the place out. I don't know if it's just that people are less familiar with the venue or what, but overall, it's been really good. Turnouts have been really good. Very, very, very stoked.
That's awesome, man. You definitely have a cult following, that's for sure.
Yeah, man.
I think everyone in there had a Dope shirt on but me, so.
Yeah.
But
I'll take it.
well, the lineup is awesome too. I mean, Flaw and Motor Grader. Have you toured with them in the past, or just fans of them and got put on tour with them, or how'd that all come together?
I figured that there's a little nostalgia around this tour, and people were smoking weed in the parking lot while skipping class back in '02, listening to Die Motherfucker Die. They probably had some Flaw and some Motor Grader in their CD player too, so it felt like a good way to round it out,
Absolutely, man. It was a great lineup, and all the bands sounded awesome last night. So you have the big album drop on the 28th. Can you give us a sneak peek into what we should expect with that new album?
Really and truthfully, man, it's a dope album. It's got its heavy, brutal parts. It's got its melodic, soulful parts. It's like, we've always made pretty wide records. It's just kind of been part of what we do. I try not to put myself in any one box where everything begins to sound the same or expresses the same emotion over and over. I feel like we're human beings and we all go through lots of stuff, and I try to, as an artist, really not censor that and be as, sort of naked as I can with it. This record may be a little bit more of an inward-looking record than maybe some of the stuff we've done in the past, or at least focuses more on the inward stuff. Which, is just where I'm at right now. I can see with the politics that are going on in our world, I can see myself, maybe writing a record that is, a little more reflective of what I'm seeing outwardly in the future, or maybe Blood Money Part 2 having a bit more of that. But this record is definitely, a little on the personal side in that regard. But it picks up right where No Regrets left off, in my opinion. It's just, another dope record. I'm looking forward to the fans digging into it and adding it to their collection. And when we play live, we always play the hits, if you want to call them, or the classic, fan favorites through the course of the 15 years we've been around. And we sprinkle, a couple new songs here and there on top. It's just, when you've been around as long as we have, that's pretty much all you can do. So I think it's all good.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to giving it a listen as well. Listening to you guys and what you talked about, your art, you guys are very three-dimensional, with the setup on stage, the screens going on, your videos, all of that. What was the biggest influence as far as getting that going, going from just a plain stage with, a couple guys playing to, all the visual effects and all of that?
I just think that's what everyone else is doing too. I just don't think that most bands at the smaller club level are doing it because it's quite costly. But to me, it just, just like our music videos, I feel like, when we make visual art that supports the music, I feel like we always go above and beyond what maybe some of our contemporaries do. Again, we've already released 3 music videos for the album. The album's not even out yet.
Absolutely.
The quality of our music videos, I feel like, continues to stay at that major label, very high gloss, high budget, high production value, and that's just something that's always been important to me, as a video director and as just an artist. And I take the live show just as seriously. If you go see any big band that's playing arenas or big theaters, everybody's got multimedia now. It's all, LED walls and just a sort of a interactive multimedia experience. And to me, if I wasn't doing that, I feel like I'm being left behind. It's like, that's what you do. And I want to stay as on the pulse with the technology and giving the fans the best show that I can. And I'm happy to, again, feel kind of like a pioneer in that regard. I don't think anybody's going into the smaller clubs like we're playing that's bringing all that stuff with them and giving the fans that much in return for their participation. And again, I'll say the same thing about the music videos. Like, nobody that's at our level is bringing music videos with them and packaging and everything like we do. It's just, call it pride, call it commitment, call it, wanting to give the fans back, as much as we can in return for their participation. But whatever it is, I feel like we do it 110%.
I agree, man. That's one thing that stuck out to me, from the first time I saw you guys, I think it was in Louisville several years ago, was, the background and the words and, just putting your message out, not only with the music, but with the sights, along with that. I think that's great, dude. And, it definitely sets you apart from the rest on that level. And speaking of technology, it's changed a ton since you guys started back in, the 90s. How has social media and YouTube and all that stuff helped out or hindered you, or, has it been a blessing?
It's just different, man. It's just a different time, and you have to adapt to it, or you die. And obviously this band has been very good at adapting, or we would still be here. I think that social media is an amazing thing for promotion of bands, and I think that especially if you're a young band, it's something that I don't even think the young bands understand how valuable it is. Yep. When we were coming out, the only way you could stay in contact with your fans was to have like a mail order fan club or maybe an email fan club. But early on, everybody's email address has changed because, everyone started with AOL and then they went to, whatever, and now everybody's Gmail. So email addresses, kind of come and go. You sort of feel like you have one email address when you're in high school, then you get a new one when you go to college, then you get a new one when you get a job. So email addresses aren't a real effective way to stay connected with fans. With social media, on the other hand, very much is. For us, it's been cool, but the difference is if you can latch into your fan base when your fan base is young, when you're connecting with, high school, 16 to, 18, and then those post-high school 18 to 25-year-olds who really live a great deal of their life on social media and have a great deal of time to invest into their hobbies on social media, it's a really effective tool. If I could go back to when our band was coming out and most of our fans were young and be able to connect with all of those people on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, my reach right now, especially for something like what we're doing, which is more of a nostalgic reunion tour, for me to be able to reach those people, I honestly think our numbers would be double what they are right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a great deal of people out there that may not follow Dope on social media, but if you said to them, hey, the Dope's doing a Die Motherfucker Die reunion and they're playing all the old shit and they're doing this and that, they'd go, really? Oh, I want to go see that. That brings me back to my high school days, but I have no way to reach them. So it's a very effective tool, and it's super effective for the young bands today that are coming out that get to lock into their fan base early on and effectively keep that connectivity with them for 10, 15, 20 years to come, which, we don't have that ability. We have to wait for our old school fans to kind of find us through social media, and then, sure, we're connected to them. But it's a much different animal because, again, our fans are a little bit older and they have jobs and lives, and most of them use social media for a much different purpose than a 16-year-old does.
Absolutely.
So it's, but in the end of the day, I think it's an incredibly valuable tool. It just certainly benefits the bands that are reaching a younger fan base more than it does the bands that are dealing with an older fan base.
Absolutely. Okay, and my last thing is, you and I are about the same age, and I'm a child of the 90s, I guess, and I was real big into industrial music like Ministry and Front 242 and Nine Inch Nails. What were some of your influences? Were they along those lines, or were you like a old school rock guy, or what were you into back then?
It's a combination. Like, Ministry and Nine Inch Nails were like my industrial influences, but my earlier influences were like, you know, the darker side of the commercial metal bands, like Motley Crue and, you know, Wasp and Guns N' Roses and like Kiss, like the theatrical rock bands that, you know, that make your mother a little bit scared. But if you listen to the music, it really wasn't that bad. Like, you know, it wasn't as scary as Slayer. But to me, you know, I kind of missed the Slayer boat because there wasn't enough melody. It was a little too extreme for me. So a band like Motley Crue was a real heavy influence on me. And then as I got a little older, then it was like Rage Against the Machine and then Nine Inch Nails and then Ministry. And so I kind of think if you look at the early representation of what Dope was, it kind of was that like Motley Crue meets Ministry meets Rage Against the Machine. Like it kind of had all those elements rolled into one. It was like sex, drugs, and rock and roll with some middle fingers and politics, a little bit of makeup, but still hard street kind of like, you know, I don't know. I think we had our own thing. And I feel like those are, you know, those influences, the Motley Crue, Rage Against the Machine, Ministry, like you put those things together and you kind of have Dope.
Absolutely, man. Well, that was all my questions. And just on a side note, and not part of the interview, I got to shoot Prophets of Rage the other night in Cincinnati, and I never got to see Rage back in the day. And to be like that close to Tom Morello, dude, it was amazing.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Blew my mind. But thanks so much for your time, dude. I really appreciate it. And we'll get this up on our social media and along with the pictures and tag you guys and stuff like that.
Cool, man. I appreciate your time, dude. Thanks so much. And, yeah, feel free. Send us some links. I'd love to repost some of your photos and stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, you have a good one.
Cool. You too, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye.